Welcome to my video on MDC paper 10. My name is Senior Hannington and it's my privilege to help you get through this May 2024 exam. The big worry for me as well as for you is what will appear in the exam. We all don't know. Now today I intend to do something about planning and control of inventories. And I will use the August 2023 question paper as you can see on your screen. The management of inventories is of vital importance in both manufacturing and merchandising organizations, don't forget. Now, when it comes to this area of the syllabus, the examiner expects you to be able to justify which costs are relevant and which should be included in the calculation of the economic order quantity. You should also be able to calculate the EOQ, that is economic order quantity, using the formula approach, determining whether or not a company should purchase larger quantities in order to take advantage of quantity discounts. You should also be able to calculate the optimal safety stock when demand is uncertain. And that's what I'm going to show you today in this video. In addition to that, you should also be able to explain or describe the various inventory control techniques. Techniques like the ABC classification method, JIT, etc. So in this video, we are going to look at how to determine the optimal safety stock. I'm going to show you how to determine the optimal safety stock, and I'll take you straight to question 5 of August 2023 of this question paper. Question 5. So we move to question 5 of our question paper. So that's the question on your screen. What are we required to do in this particular question? Advise on the optimal safety stock of the laundry soap, percentage effect of JIT purchasing system on the half year's profitability, then the limitations of EOQ. However, I'm going to just show you how to calculate the optimal safety stock. Issues relating to the impact of JIT as well as the limitations of the EOQ, that will be in the next video maybe. Now we need to understand first of all what is safety stock. Remember, the future is uncertain, and we have said that inventories are of a vital importance. Demand in the future, sometimes it may increase, sometimes it may decrease. So we don't know. So normally firms keep what we call safety stock. Now safety stock is that amount of inventory that are held in excess of the expected usage during the lead time to provide a cushion against running out of stock because of the fluctuations in demand. So whenever we expect fluctuations in demand, you should be having that excess safety stock, such that in case demand increases in the future, at least you have something in your stock, something you can sell in excess of the expected usage. However, there are costs for inventory. The moment you keep high safety stocks, the inventory cost will also be high. But still, when you maintain low levels of safety stock, still, you may incur costs when you run out of stock. So maintaining high safety stocks may not be in the company's best interests if the cost of holding these excessive inventories will exceed the cost that will be incurred if the company runs out of inventory. Therefore, it is desirable to establish a sound quantitative procedure for determining an acceptable level of safety stock, what we call the optimal safety stock. That safety stock level that minimizes the inventory costs, that is the holding costs as well as the stock out costs. So that level of safety stock, or what we call the optimal safety stock, should be set where the cost of stock outs plus the cost of holding the safety stocks are minimized. So we have this information here. Shine Amot operates as Shine distributors in Kagadi town for distribution of laundry soap within Midwestern Uganda. Shine purchases and sells a box of soap at shillings 38,220. That is the purchase cost per box. And Shine Amot sells this box at shillings 39,500. Of course, there is a contribution, because when I get the selling price minus the cost incurred to make the purchase, I see a contribution there. However, the other variable cost per box of soap amount to shillings 80. So there is another variable cost Amot incurs in addition to the purchase cost of 38,220. Shine normally sells 24,000 boxes per month. Shine rents a warehouse of 50 square meters at a monthly fee of 30,000 per square meter. Okay, this is a good one. Of which 15 square meters accommodate her administration office. Good. So now here they are trying to test your understanding of the relevant cost of inventories when you see such. Every month, Shine spends 500,000 on security. Okay. And employs 6 permanent staff at shillings 400,000 each. This is good. Shine also incurs distribution and other operating costs of shillings 7.1 million per month. Okay. Okay. Lately, Shine has been experiencing irregular demand for soap, which has caused significant stock out costs. The costs of running out of stock have been incurred because of the irregular demand for the soap and overstocking in given periods. She was advised to adopt JIT purchasing system as a solution to the irregular demand. JIT is anticipated to satisfy customer orders in time and also minimize stock management costs. Yes, that is very, very right. JIT can minimize the stock management costs. Shine believes that the stock out cost is the lost contribution per box. Below is the probability distribution for the 6 months sales demand. The probability distribution. Why are they giving you the probability distribution? It's because we are uncertain about demand in the future. So they are giving you the probabilities. with the introduction of JIT purchasing system, the following changes are expected to occur. Now, these will occur, that is, if JIT is introduced. But I told you today I will not look at JIT. We are going to just see how to calculate the optimal safety stock. So this data for JIT I'll first ignore that for now. So advise shine on the optimal safety stock of laundry soap. Advise shine on the optimal safety stock of the laundry soap. Remember, the optimal safety stock is that safety stock where the total cost of stock out and cost of holding the safety stocks are minimized, meaning that we have to find out how much are the stock out costs per box and how much are the costs incurred to hold a box. Then after that, we are going to see what to do next. So first find out the stock out cost per box as well as the holding cost per box. They have told us that Shine believes that the stock out cost is the lost contribution per box. The stock out cost is the lost contribution per box. So you have to find out the contribution per box. That contribution per box, that is your stock out cost. Because stock out costs are the costs you incur when you run out of stock. And when I run out of stock, it means that I'm likely to lose a contribution in case of any sale that was supposed to be made. But it's not made simply because of no stock or simply because we are out of stock. Okay, so there will be that lost contribution per box that is lost whenever you don't sell simply because you're running out of stock. So Shine believes that the stock out cost is the lost contribution. This is very simple to arrive at. How do you compute the contribution per box? You simply need the selling price per box minus the variable costs per box. The purchase cost per box is a variable cost, and then they are also giving you the other variable cost per box or so. So let us calculate our contribution lost. Let us calculate our contribution lost in this case. And that will be our stock out cost per box. So here we go. Stock out cost per box. We have been told that this is the same as the contribution lost per box. And I've told you the contribution per box will equal to the selling price per box minus the variable costs per box. Our selling price per box, as per the information given, that is shillings 39,500 minus the variable cost per box, that is the purchase cost of 38,220, then plus the other variable cost that has been given, and that was 80. So when you get 39,500 minus 38,220, 38,220, minus the 80, we get shillings 1,200. So that is your contribution per box. But when you run out of stock, you will lose this. Okay, so the stock cost per box is shillings 1,200. That is your stock out cost per box. The other thing I need is the holding cost per box. The holding cost per box. And in this case, the holding cost per box, we have to look at the incremental warehouse and the storage costs which Shine incurs. Let me take you back. Shine rents a warehouse of 50 square meters at a monthly rate of 30,000 per square meter, of which the 15 square meters accommodate her administration office. When you try to look at these are all costs that are incurred. Remember, you have to hold these boxes, you have to store them, but you incur warehouse rent. You spend 500,000 on security, and you also have some 6 permanent staff. There are 6, and you pay each 400. There are also costs incurred on distribution and other operating costs amounting to shillings 7.1 a month. So you need to know which costs are relevant in this case. I want to get the holding cost per box, but I should only consider the incremental warehouse and storage costs. Those are the costs which we should consider. So if you have those costs that are incurred and they are unaffected by the changes in the inventory levels, then those costs should be ignored. Those costs should be ignored. The relevant costs of holding stock are only those costs that will vary with the level of inventories. Any cost that will not be affected by the changes in inventory levels is not relevant. So when you look at the warehouse rent, 15 square meters accommodate her administration office. Now that is rent for the office. That is an irrelevant cost in this case. It's not affected by the changes in the inventory levels. So that one is irrelevant. The cost for the 15 square meters is irrelevant because that is office rent. The cost they incur on the security and the 6 permanent staff on a monthly basis, those are irrelevant costs because they are unaffected by the changes in the inventory levels in the short term. The distribution and the other operating costs of 7.1 million per month, those are all irrelevant costs in this case. So meaning that the holding cost, which is incremental or which is relevant, is the cost incurred to rent the 35 square meters only. So let us compute that. So the holding cost per box, this will equal to, remember the rent 50 square meters, but 15 are for the office. times what? Times 30,000. But now this is the warehouse rent. But I'm interested in the holding cost per box. These are the costs they will incur, the incremental costs for the holding, the incremental holding costs they will incur. We have said 35 square meters times 30,000, because 30,000 is what they incur per square meter. But they keep, Shine normally sells 24,000 boxes per month. So meaning that they should be having these boxes. They should be having those. They should be having those boxes. They are 24,000 boxes per month. Since I want to get the cost per month, I'll divide this by 24,000 boxes. 24,000 boxes. That gives us a holding cost of how much? 50 minus 15 times 30,000 divided by 24,000. That gives us a holding cost per box of 43.75. So that's what we have. So the rent of the admin office, those are 15 square meters. Talk about the security guard salaries, the salaries of the permanent staff. All those are irrelevant costs because they are unaffected by the changes in the inventory levels. Now, after arriving at the stock out cost as well as the holding cost per box, let us look at our probability distribution. Because there is uncertainty, we have to come up with what we call the expected value of demand. Expected value of demand. When I talk about expected value of demand, it means that we are not 100% certain about the demand. It is expected. So to get that expected value of demand, you will get the future demand times the probability. Expected value, it is arrived by getting the outcome, then times the associated probability for that outcome. So in this case, we have to get the expected value of demand per each of the 6 months. So what you do to get the expected value of demand, you get 12,000 times 0.2, then plus 16,000 times 0.1, plus 20,000 times 0.2, plus 22,000 times 0.2, plus 24,000 times 0.2, plus 28,000 times 0.1 times 0.1. So when you do that computation and you weigh all the values, you come up with what? You come up with an expected value of demand of 20,000 boxes. You come up with an expected value of demand of 20,000 boxes. That is the sum of each potential sales demand multiplied by the probability factor. Multiplied by the probability factor. Remember, we said that the safety stock is that stock you keep in excess of the expected usage. So if my expected usage is 20,000 boxes, it means that the safety stocks that will be required to cover that monthly, the expected cost, the safety stocks that are required are those that will cover the monthly demands of 20,000, 22,000, 24, as well as 28,000 boxes. Why? Because the 12,000 boxes and the 16,000 boxes can be satisfied from a reorder point of 20,000 boxes. So because the 12,000 and the 16,000 boxes are less than your expected value of demand of the 20,000 boxes, we don't need safety stocks for such demand levels because they are less than our expected. So the safety stocks that are required are those that are going to cover the monthly demands of 20,000, 22,000, 24,000, as well as 28,000. So in my computations, those are the demand levels which I'm going to consider when coming up with the value of optimal safety stock. Now, if you don't want to carry safety stock in this case, it simply means that you have to set your reorder point at 20,000 boxes. But for you not to be having safety stock when your reorder point is set at 20,000 boxes, it simply means that the actual usage should also be 20,000 boxes. And of course, there will be no stock out if your actual usage is 20,000 boxes. I repeat, if Shine carries no safety stock and the reorder point is set at 20,000 boxes, there will be no stock out if the actual usage is also 20,000 boxes or less. That is 12,000, 16,000. There will be no stock out if the reorder point is set at 20,000 boxes and the actual usage is also 20,000 boxes. However, if the usage proves to be 22,000 instead of 20, there will be a stock out of 2,000 units. And the probability of this occurring is 0.2. The probability of this occurring is what? Is 0.2. This is what I'm trying to talk about. That if the usage proves it to be 22,000 this instead of 20,000 that, there will be a stock out of 2,000 units. That is 22,000 minus the 20,000. But the probability of this occurring is 0.20. So there will be a stock out of 2,000 units and the probability is 0.20. Alternatively, if the usage is 24,000 units or 28,000 boxes, there will be stock outs for 4,000 and 8,000 units. There will be stock outs of 4,000 and 8,000 units respectively. And the probabilities, that will be now 0.2 and 0.1 and 0.10. Now, if Shine maintains a safety stock of 8,000 boxes, a safety stock of 8,000 boxes, that is 28,000 minus the 20,000, the expected value. The firm ensures that a stock a stock out will not occur. If Shine has a safety stock of 8,000 units, to get the 8,000 units, I'm getting 28 minus the 20,000. Then this Shine will ensure that the stock out will not occur at any time. So with that explanation, we can calculate the expected stock out costs, the holding cost, and the total cost for the various levels of safety stock, as I'm going to show you in my illustration. So we are going to calculate the expected cost for the various levels of safety stocks. That's what we are going to see now. How would you come up with the safety stocks? And how would you arrive at the costs incurred at the varying safety stocks? So I'll come up with a table here. I'll name this column my average usage. So that is my average usage. That is my average usage. I'll need the stock out. Sorry, the safety stock maybe. Let's call it the safety stock. The safety stock. I'll need the safety stock. From the safety stock, we can also come up with a reorder point. The reorder point. That is my reorder point. The reorder point. Then from the reorder point, I can bring the stock out. Bring my stock out there. Then from the stock out, I need to get the stock out cost. The stock out cost. I'll need the stock out costs. Then I also need okay, we have probability. Don't forget, we are dealing with the uncertainties, so there are probabilities. So you have to show the probability of running out of stock. Then because of probabilities, you have to get the expected stock out cost. The expected stock out cost. You need the holding cost. We need the holding cost. Then we also need to come up with our total expected cost. Total expected cost. Total expected cost. So that's what we have. The average usage, the safety stock, your reorder point, then you have the stock out cost. The stock out cost. We have a column for the probabilities. Then we have the column for the expected stock out costs. and then the holding costs, and then your total expected costs. Total expected costs. So that's what we have. That's what we have. Now the average usage, these are boxes, don't forget. These are boxes. These are boxes. As well as the reorder point, as well as my stock out. So initially these are all going to be boxes. So we can start now. I've told you that if you need a safety stock of 8,000, if we need a safety stock of 8,000 boxes, and our average is 20,000 boxes, then our order point is going to be set at 28,000 boxes. So meaning that at 28,000 boxes, if this is your reorder point, 28,000 boxes, but your average usage is 20,000, then you're going to maintain a safety stock of 8,000 boxes, and the reorder point will be 28,000 boxes. But if your average is 20,000, then you'll be having a safety stock of 8,000. At 8,000 boxes safety stock, the firm is ensuring that there will be no stock out. So here you cannot run out of stock. If you have this safety stock, you will not run out of stock. Therefore, the stock out cost will also be zero in that case. The probability will be zero because you're not running out of stock, and the expected stock out cost will also be zero. However, you have to incur the holding costs. Remember, we have already seen that the holding cost per box is 43.5 per box. So 0.75 per box times your safety stock, the boxes you keep in excess. Those are 8,000 boxes. So you get 350,000 as your holding cost. To get the total expected cost, you get the expected stock out costs plus the holding costs. In fact, it is the holding costs plus the expected stock out cost, which is zero. So you get 350,000. From 28,000, demand can also be 24,000. So where the reorder point is 24,000, or where the demand stands to be 24,000, but my average usage is 20,000, then here I'll be having a safety stock of 4,000 units. I'll be having a safety stock of 4,000 units. But what happens if the usage is 24,000 instead of 20,000 as expected? So here we are going to run out of stock. But still, what happens if the usage is 24,000, but our reorder point, what happens if the reorder point is set at 24,000, but the usage is 28,000? Usage is 28,000, but your reorder point has been set at 24,000. Yes, you have a safety stock of 4,000 because your average usage is 20,000, but now you're going to be running out of stock. If the usage is 28,000, but your reorder point is 24,000. In other words, this is what you have ordered for, but the usage turns to be 28,000. So here you're going to run out of stock by 4,000 boxes. You run out of stock by 4,000 boxes. The stock out cost will equal to the boxes you're running out of stock times how much? The stock out cost per box, which is the contribution per box, and that is 1,200. So times 1,200, giving us 4.8. Giving us 4.8. So that 4.8 is the stock out cost. But remember, because of the uncertainty, there is probability. So the probability of having 24,000 boxes as the usage is 0, as the actual usage is 0.20. No. Because I'm comparing 28,000 with 24. That you've set your order point at 24,000, but the usage turns to be 28,000. So the usage to be 28,000, the probability is 0.1 at that level. So we bring the 0.1 as our probability. So the expected stock out cost will equal to the stock out cost, then times the probability factor of 0.1, giving us 480,000. The holding cost. We have already seen that the holding cost per box is 43.75 times the boxes you keep in excess. Those are 4,000 boxes. You have 175,000, and to get the total expected cost, it is this plus this, giving you 655,000 as your total expected cost for that level. We continue. Now you've set, you can as well set your reorder point at 22,000, and in that case your safety stock will be 2,000 units. Your safety stock will be 2,000 units. That if we set our reorder point at 22,000 units, then you should be having a safety stock of 2,000, because the average is 20,000 boxes per month. So here I'll be having a safety stock of 2,000. But remember, when it comes to this, when you set your reorder point at 22,000 boxes, what happens? Because we are not certain. What happens if your actual usage is 24,000 or 28,000? One of the two. You will run out of stock. You will run out of stock. Remember, demand is uncertain, as I've told you. So if you keep 22,000 boxes, or if you make a reorder point of 22,000 boxes, but now the actual usage turns to be 24,000 or 28, then if it is 22,000 your reorder point, but the usage turns to be 28,000, you're going to run out of stock by 6,000 boxes. If it is 22,000 your reorder point, but the actual usage is 24,000 boxes, you will run out of stock by 2,000 boxes. You have to calculate the stock out costs, and we know that the stock out, that is equal to the contribution loss per box, and that is 1,200 times my stock out boxes, so giving me that. Here we get our 1,200 times the 2,000 boxes, giving us that. But there are probabilities, don't forget. The probability of having a demand of 28,000, that was 0.1. And the demand of having 24,000, that was 0.2. That was 0.2. Then you get your expected stock out costs. That is the stock out costs times the probability factor. The stock out costs times the probability factor. So how much is the total for this safety stock? It is this plus this, giving us 1.2. The holding cost that will be incurred, we know that to hold a box you incur 43.75, the incremental holding costs. Then times the boxes you're keeping in excess, those are 2,000 boxes, giving you 87,500. Your total expected cost will equal to 1.2, then plus the holding cost of that, giving you 1,287,500. We move from 22,000. Yes, now we come to the 20. Your reorder, your expected value. If it's 20, and if it's your actual usage is also 20,000. If you set your reorder point at 20,000 and the actual usage is also 20,000, of course we say that there will be no safety stock. So 20, and you set your reorder point at 20,000, then the safety stock is 0 at that point. But of course, you're going to run out of stock. Why? Because you may set your reorder point at 20,000, but we have seen that demand can either be 28,000, it can be 24,000, or 22,000. So meaning that you're likely to run out of stock if things change in a negative way. You have 28,000 boxes, but the demand can be 28,000, meaning that in that case you're going to run out of stock by 8,000 units. You have set your order point at 20,000, but what happens if the demand is 24,000? You will run out of stock by 4,000 units. You have set 20, but what happens if the actual usage turns to be 22,000? You're going to run out of stock by 2,000 boxes. The stock out cost, we know that it is the lost contribution, which is 1,200, times the stock out boxes. So that's what you incur. Those will be the stock out cost for this. And then for the others as well. But there are probabilities, don't forget. There are probabilities, don't forget. The probability of having demand as 28,000, that is 0.1. The probability of having demand as 24,000, that is 0.2. the probability of having demand as 22,000, that is 0.2 as well. We shall multiply to get the expected stock out costs. That's what we come up with. Of course, when I get a total for this, that's what you get. The holding costs, it is 0 because you don't have safety stock. You have 0 safety stock because you're setting your order point at 20,000 and the average usage is 20,000. So that is 0 times 40 what? 43 point, was it 0.75? It's a 0. Then you get your total expected cost as this, then plus the 0, giving you, that is how much, giving you 2.4, giving us 2.4. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment, don't forget to like. Okay, so you share with your friends. So this is my table that shows okay, so this is our table that shows the various levels of safety stocks with their expected costs. Okay, so we have to look at the total expected costs column. Then we see where do we have the minimum expected total cost. Of course, when we look at the expected costs, the expected cost will be minimized when 8,000 boxes of safety stock are held. You see this. And that. So this is the minimum cost when we try to look at this column of the total expected cost. This is the minimum cost. And the safety stock is 8,000. You are required to advise Shine. You're required to advise Shine on what? On the optimal safety stock. So I'll come here and say that the expected costs are minimized when 8,000 boxes of safety stock are held. Therefore, the optimal safety stock of Shine is 8,000 boxes. That is the level of safety stock where the stock out costs and the holding cost will be minimized. In the next video, I'll show you how to advise Shine on the percentage effect of JIT purchasing system, and then we shall also talk about the concept of EOQ, its assumptions as well as limitations. Thank you for watching. I remain your tutor, Senior Hannington. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment. Bye-bye.